In the previous episode, we saw that all humans share the same chromosomal structure, 23 pairs. But that was only the outside view. Now we go inside one chromosome and ask a simple question: what is it actually made of? Inside a chromosome is DNA, a single long molecule that stores biological instructions. If you could stretch out all the DNA in just one human cell, it would be roughly 2 meters long. And yet it fits inside a nucleus far smaller than a grain of dust. That sounds impossible until you remember that DNA is not left loose. It is folded, packed, and organized with extreme care. The cell treats DNA like precious information that must be protected from tangles, breaks, and noise. DNA wraps around proteins called histones, like thread around spools. This creates a structure that can be tightened, loosened, and rearranged depending on what the cell needs. So a chromosome is not just a hard container. It is a dynamic system. And here is the key idea: DNA is not only matter. It is information. The order of its chemical letters forms messages that cells can interpret, store, and reuse. In a sense, the chromosome is a library, and DNA is the text inside it. This text is written using only 4 letters, A, T, C, and G alone, for letters feel too small to describe a human being. But length creates power. When those letters form long sequences, patterns emerge, and instructions become possible. Some stretches of DNA act like recipes for making proteins, the molecules that do most of the work in your body. Other stretches help control when those recipes are used, where they are used, and how strongly they are expressed. So DNA is not just a list of parts. It is a control system. Here is something surprising: almost every cell in your body contains the same DNA. A skin cell and a brain cell carry the same chromosomes. What makes them different is not the code itself, but which parts of the code get read and when. Cells do not read DNA like humans read a book from the first page to the last. They open specific regions, copy specific messages, and ignore others. It is closer to a search engine than a novel. The cell pulls out what it needs for the job it must do. So your identity comes from 2 layers at once. First, the sequence you inherited, the letters themselves. Second, the way your cells interpret that sequence over time, turning some instructions on and others off. The code is shared. The outcomes diverge. In the next episode, we will look at that reading process. How does a cell decide what to turn on, what to silence, and what to amplify? Because the deepest mystery is not that DNA exists, but that the same DNA can create many different kinds of living cells.